growing up around the Mac Irvin legacy, tell us a little bit about that.
Some my father did. My father, got us all into sports. He was more like the father of the neighborhood, father of the community. I was growing up. I was a little guy. We was into basketball and baseball. My father was part of the. We started off in Jackie Robinson, where Mr. Haley and my dad. We learned baseball quickly. Over at Mount Vernon Park. So you know, and then that goes into basketball. Then my father, with him, I watched him, helping out every kid in the community how to get involved in sports and use sports as an outlet for a vehicle to get a free education. So, I learned about the business early on what he was doing. But one thing he always told me and the rest of my brothers and family was to help out kids, you got to be passionate about it. It got to be in your heart. Because if it ain't in your heart, it's no place for you to try to help out the kids. So, because it gotta come from the heart.
It gotta come from the heart. It's not going to work out because kids can see through it as well too.
Huh?
I said because the kids can see through it as well
The
too.
kids can see through it as well too.
If you're not doing it,
Yeah.
from the heart. If you got any ill, ulterior motives, whatnot.
Yeah.
But your father and you guys built a one of the most respected grassroots basketball programs in America with Mac Irvin Fire. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Building that, it was man, it was just something he started and wanted to do. He used Chicago and said, for us to get our name out there, for us, our kids to get recognized, we got to travel. So he wanted to put together this travel team. He put together the travel team, and man, he grabbed the best players out of the state and then hit the road with them. Because, in basketball, it always come back to the major cities. So back then it was about New York, and then it was about California, LA. And then, so when you talked about Midwest, you talked about Indiana. They so rich and big in basketball, so Chicago, we had to get us on the map. Even though we had some of the best players in the world come from Chicago, my father wanted to do it at an early age and start traveling. So he created a travel team. And ever since then, we was getting out on the circuit and taking the best players and showing the world that Chicago has the best basketball out here.
The rest is history. Yes, we definitely needed that exposure, man. Thanks, Pops, for getting that going, man.
Yeah.
Takes visionaries, man, to start things.
Yeah.
When your father passed the torch, and you became CEO around '07, what kind of responsibilities did you feel carrying the name?
I had big responsibilities because my father did it so long. He created, I mean, not created, but he helped out so many individuals. Before I took over, he was just big. Every ball player in Chicago he touched, he was instrumental with a lot of them. So for me to try to keep the legacy going, I had to figure it out. But when I took over, the first thing I did, because the name wasn't Mac Irvin, it was Illinois Fire. First thing I did when I took over, is being the creative, individual I am, I said, how can I keep this going? So the first thing I said was for me to get players and continue to get players like my father did, I had to change the name. Once I changed the name to Mac Irvin, then I knew players would call me instead of me always going out trying to find the best players, because I know he touched so many kids out here that if I put the name to it, I can have long-term success. And once I did that, it helped me and my brothers continue the legacy.
That makes sense.
Your father's name was Mac.
Yeah.
Was his name McKinley?
What's his name?
What was his name? I don't know. Mac is like abbreviation.
Oh, Mac is abbreviation. So his real name is McLaughlin Irvin. Okay. So you got McLaughlin Irvin. I got my brother named McLaughlin Irvin. Actually, he's the third. And then his son is the fourth. So abbreviated Mac, and then we just stuck with him. for his whole life, because ain't too many people saying McLaughlin.
Right.
Right. My grandfather was legendary in the hooping scene. His name was McKinley Cowson, so that's why I know what Mac come from.
Okay.
Yeah, he was coach of DuSable back in the early, I don't know, probably 60s or 70s or something like that.
Did he have a great Paxton Lumpkin on that team?
He did.
He did.
He coached Mo Cheeks and
Okay.
all of them individuals. They have the book about DuSable. He's in there.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
my father used to tell me about all them legendary teams. He came up around that time. He went to Tilden back then, in Tilden, but all his friends played at DuSable, and he used to tell us about all them teams. So when it comes to basketball, I just soak up a lot of information. So as soon as you said DuSable and he coached there, that's
Man, a lot of history between
a lot
us, man.
of history.
A lot of history, man.
Yeah.
I ran into people, man, that know my grandfather.
And I guarantee you my father knew your grandfather. I guarantee
I'm
you.
sure.
Yeah.
What were some of the biggest lessons your father taught you about leadership?
The biggest lesson he told me was, you to be a leader, you got to lead, never follow. That's first of all. But then, always listen before you make decisions. Listen first and think about, then make your decision. So being a leader, with the organization, I always try to think first and then pay attention to the room, pay attention to everything, then make decisions. So I've been successful at it so far, and I just want to, continue being successful.